All right, well, we're in a new week in our graduate research and design class. And this week really is kind of simple but complex at the same time, right? There's preparing a research report. And so you'll read chapter 21 on preparing a research report and do the quiz for that. And by the way, I think the days of 2 quiz weeks are gone. I think we only have 1 quiz per week now to finish out this semester, so that's nice, and maybe not even one on that last week of class. So there really are only 2 quizzes left. We're just about done, really, with all those quizzes and all the class. Only a few more weeks away. So yeah, read chapter 21, do the quiz. And then, of course, the final proposal is also due this week. So you have to combine the work that you have done so far in your research proposal, and then you're adding a few things to create the final proposal, and that includes the cover page, an abstract, and data analysis methods that are planned. So if you are doing a qualitative study, make sure you describe what methods you will use to collect and analyze the data in some detail. And also quantitative, you'll want to talk about the statistical method that you plan on using to analyze the data in your study. That's really the bulk of the work this week. There is more detail on the final proposal in last week's video that I shared. So be sure to check that out if you're confused about this. We'll go from there. I did also, though, want to talk a little bit about some research learning that I did over the week, and that is I attended a webinar presented by Charles Reigeluth, who's somewhat of an expert and mentor in the field of educational technology, but he talks about research methods in general, not just within educational technology. And he says that there are basically 2 types of research that can be done. There's research called descriptive theory, and that describes causal relationships or natural processes. And that's what most people think about when they think about research projects, is descriptive theory. We're describing what causes one thing. And then design theory is the other option, and that identifies the best means to accomplish goals. And so when he talks about these things, he's talking about the different types of research one can do. We can do research that allows us to describe what's happening, but we can also do research that allows us to try to find the best way to do something, or try to improve the way that we do things. So descriptive theory is the first of those, and design theory is the latter of those. So descriptive theory, in the types of descriptive theory or descriptive research methods, they're focused on validity and truthfulness, while a design theory focuses on preferability and usefulness of something. And he makes the distinction by saying it's research to prove or improve. So some research you try to prove something. You try to prove that this causes X causes Y, for instance. And other research could be to improve things, like you might say, what's a better teaching method, or what's a better way to counsel people? And that would be to improve, or that would be also design theory or design research. So that's what his point is, and he says that if you want to make the biggest difference in the world, that design research, the one where you're trying to improve things, is better than descriptive theory or research. Because, again, you can make kind of a difference in finding those descriptive items. He also gives this S-curve for a given theory. If you look on the curve here, there's performance and time. And on the bottom of the curve, the research begins, right? And it takes a lot of time to get any gain in performance. So research studies within a certain area start to happen. And it takes several studies and a lot of time before there's any improvement, any marked improvement in performance. But after a while, you can see that the S becomes more steep, and there is more performance over time. And so we've got to the point where we can really make some good performance after we've done enough research studies about that phenomenon or about that thing. And then after a while, since we've done so many studies, the performance doesn't increase that much over time in the end of doing a research study. So it's like a big cycle of research. If you think about your own study that you're proposing, it's kind of a small study, most of you, excuse me, and you're doing something kind of small and starting out. But consider all the studies that have been done within that area, and think about where you might be on this S-curve. If there's a lot of research already been done on this study and it's pretty well known, then the performance curve goes down, right? There's not much performance increase for over time. If it's just starting out though, there may not be a lot of performance either. But right here in the middle is where you do one more study and you get a lot of good information from that one study because there's been enough research done, there's enough of a base to do that. And this goes back to the importance of literature reviews as well, because you have to know where you are on this little S-curve of understanding research. So again, design theory is more important than descriptive theory for making a difference. And his suggestion was to do more research to improve, not to prove things. And conduct research within contexts that you want to improve. And I think that's what has happened with a lot of your studies. You have a lot of thinking about concepts and topics and ideas that are happening within your area of interest. And your goal really is to improve how people do things. So that's just a little intro to some of these ideas that have been presented and that I've been learning about over the last few weeks. Good luck on the activities for this week and carry on.